home from Kitty Hawk. So in about 4 minutes, Orville and Wilbur and their baby sister Catherine will be joining us. So I need some lookouts here because Kate sneaks up on me all the time. Sometimes she comes from that direction and sometimes she comes from that direction. But you'll recognize her because on this very nice warm day, she has a very long dress on with a nice saucer type hat. So if you see her coming, especially from that direction, you let me know, okay? Because when she appears, I have to disappear.
When who appears?
Kate. Kate was the baby sister of Orville and Wilbur. Her and Orville were actually born 3 years to the day apart. She's really the story of this home. I would quite go so far to tell you if there was no Kate, we would not be talking about the Wright brothers today. I mean, do I have anybody here that's really shy? Right? You're really shy? So are Orville and Wilbur. They don't like to talk publicly. They don't like to do anything publicly. Kate is the one who graduates from college. She's the only one that does. She's the cheerleader. She's the nurse. By age 15, her mother unfortunately passes away from tuberculosis. Kate becomes the woman of the house. So she's in charge of the cooking, the cleaning, the washing, the ironing. But also, even more than that, even though she does graduate college, she'll be about 26 before that'll happen. Because her education gets interrupted. Because if her dad gets sick or injured, or one of her brothers, she stops whatever she's doing to come home and nurse them back to health. So her education gets... Oh, do you need any help, ma'am?
No.
All right. Poor thing. Reminds me of Wilbur. Wilbur was kind of like that. But she'll be the second woman to fly. And for the first 2 years there in Kitty Hawk, she runs the cycle shop for them while they go to Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. So trust me, if there was no Kate, we're probably not talking about the Wright brothers at all. Let's see now, we're looking here. Oh, they should be here any moment. You keeping your eyes peeled?
Yep.
Excellent. Because you never know which direction she's coming from. And of course, once the play is over, we will reopen the house and you can walk through and take a look at it. And we have this play one more time today at 1:30.
Some of his speech would be witty or scientific. He shook his head and said, no, it'll be pathetic. Well, it wasn't, of course. It was a great success. Will, would you mind coming and saying a few words to these kind people? I'm sure they'd all love... pardon me. Please? Well, I'll see that Carrie gives you seconds of dessert.
We'd be honored. Good afternoon, everyone. Well, as you can tell, our interest in flight began when we were children. This toy helicopter made a big impression on us. Our father, a bishop, delighted in selecting toys that would stimulate our imagination, encourage us to be curious and have a thirst for knowledge.
That's right. Now, even though I'm the only one who graduated from college, the shelves of books served as Wilbur and Orville's University. The books we all read served as home study that was both broad and deep.
Philosophy, history, science, mathematics, music, language, literature. Our books flew us to many places long before we ever seriously considered flying anywhere.
Yes, and after much research, we determined that a successful flying machine requires three things. Wings to lift it into the air.
An engine to move it forward with sufficient speed so that the wind going over the wings would generate that lift.
And a means of controlling the machine in the air.
Now, watching the way people balance on a bicycle actually helped them figure out how to control an airplane.
Yes, we realized that controlling an airplane was not like driving a wagon or operating an automobile. An airplane, just like a bicycle, is an unstable device. A bicycle rider intuitively makes adjustments to keep control. For example, when making a turn, the rider leans toward the center of the turn to balance. We thought that an airplane should work the same way, but how do you make an airplane lean over like a bicycle?
One way is to change the amount of lift on either end of the wing. If you have more lift on the left end and less on the right, left end will rise, the right end will fall. The entire plane will then tilt to the right, just like a bicycle rider making a right-hand turn.
Great idea, but how would we change the lift at each end of the wing? I got the idea from a bicycle inner tube box. Voila. One day in the cycle shop, I had one of these in my hand, and I absent-mindedly started twisting it like this. It then dawned on me that if it were a pair of wings, twisting the ends in opposite directions would change the lift at each end and make the wings tilt left Oh, right.
And thus the idea for the wing warp was born. We built a model biplane kite to test it, and it worked.
Next, we built and tested our own manned gliders.
Now they chose Kitty Hawk, North Carolina because the wind blew steadily, the beach was clear of obstructions, and the remote location meant that they wouldn't be troubled by press and gawkers.
Not that we consider any of you to be gawkers.
No, certainly not. But none of you are from the press, are you? I mean, Miss Hannah?
3 years ago last summer, they set out for the Outer Banks to test their first glider.
Kitty Hawk in the summer is like the Sahara, or at least what I imagine the Sahara to be like. Though I don't think there are too many 5-blanket cold nights in the Sahara like we experienced at Kitty Hawk. Not to mention all the black flies, the mosquitoes. They ate right through our underwear. We had nothing. It was misery.
It was miserable, but we were on a grand adventure. The few locals we met and the workers from the U.S. Life-Saving Service Station nearby were welcoming and very helpful.
Our glider test that year confirmed our basic ideas and taught us a great deal. One thing that Wilbur learned the hard way is to keep his mouth shut when landing so as not to end up with a mouthful of sand.
But that incredible feeling of gliding through the air made it all worthwhile, Orv.
Now 2 years ago, they made man tests on their second glider.
We solved some problems, but we left that summer thoroughly confused because things didn't work out the way we had predicted. Back then, we doubted if we would ever resume our experiments.
I made the prediction that man would fly one day, but not within 1,000 years.
But they never gave up.
Thanks in large part to your unwavering encouragement. Even when we doubted ourselves, you never stopped believing in us.
No, and I never will.
As we investigated our failures further, we discovered that the calculations that men had been using for years to determine lift, well, they were incorrect. So we worked hard to establish correct numbers.
We took nothing lightly since we were staking our lives on our findings. Experiments with our wind tunnel provided the answers we were looking for. The wind tunnel helped us find the most efficient wing shape, and we were ready to attempt to fly again.
So in 1902, they returned to Kitty Hawk to make man tests on their third glider. They flew it over 250 times.
We were in the air from dawn till dusk, and we achieved all of our goals. We had built a fully controllable glider that was without a doubt the best glider that had ever been built. So now it was time to build a powered airplane, one that could take off on level ground at a dead stop.
And in just 6 weeks, we had our 12-horsepower, 200-pound engine built and tested for power. Now, we also decided to use 2 wind propellers which would turn in opposite directions by means of bicycle chains.
Yes, now these propellers were very efficient. It was really just a major breakthrough for them.
We left Dayton on September 25th and arrived at our camp at the Kill Devil Hills in Kitty Hawk a few days later. The 1903 season was upon
Now
us.
this is what I've been waiting for. To hear about your fourth flight.
Oh, well, as you know, the first couple of months were plagued with delays due to weather, equipment problems, and waiting on new parts. But by Monday, December 14th, we were finally ready to attempt the unknown.
For the sake of fairness, we decided to flip a coin to see who would fly first. Wilbur won the coin toss.
No, wait just one moment. It was as simple as all that. No intense bartering that you're conveniently leaving out.
We swear. I got to position and Orville ran alongside the launch rail. The machine climbed about 15 feet in the air, then stalled and crashed back to the sand after 3.5 seconds.
We spent the next 2 days repairing the machine so we could get her to fly again.
And writing me to say there is now no question of final success. But weren't you ever scared or unsure?
A bit of fear perhaps, but mostly it was pure excitement. We were too prepared to feel unsure.
When we woke the morning of December 17th, there was a cold 24-mile-per-hour wind blowing and there were patches of ice on the ground. You know, now that I think about it, I can't believe we attempted to fly a new and untried machine in those conditions.
But there was no stopping us. The weather was giving out. We knew it was time to fly or go home.
But now it was my turn. I shook Wilbur's hand before I climbed into place.
And I can tell you now that I almost didn't want to let go of your hand. For a split second I thought, what if we were never to see each other again?
Well, you weren't so lucky. I'm here to tell the tale. At about 10:35, I shifted the lever to the left and I went down the rail into wind gusts of up to 27 miles an hour. I then lifted. I actually flew for 120 feet before landing safely back in the sand.
And I had one of the men, John Daniels, stand ready behind the tripod to snap the shutter on our camera. Now, he thinks he caught the machine when it was in midair, but we won't know for sure until we develop a negative back in our shed.
I didn't give it much time to take the photograph. I was only in the air for about 12 seconds. But it was the first time in the history of the world that a machine carrying a man had raised itself by its own power into the air in full flight, had sailed forward without reduction of speed, and landed at a point as high as that from which it had started. All of our hopes and dreams over the past 4 years came true in 12 seconds. Now we knew we were on the right track. We knew that this machine could fly.
I have goosebumps. I really do. I can't wait for the day that I can see you both fly with my very own eyes.
Well, maybe one day we'll get you up there as well.
Well, you do that well. It almost doesn't even seem real, does it? Your flight lasted this amazing, seemingly eternal 12 seconds. It often only takes 1 second to change destinies, or lives, or even the course of history. But they had 12 of those seconds. Now, can you imagine what it would feel like to accomplish something that was thought to be impossible and then to sustain it for 12 glorious seconds? What thoughts ran through their minds during those 12 seconds? 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000,
Take the torso, just like
4
cycling.
1,000,
One side, keep the
5
balance.
1,000,
Forward,
6
come on.
1,000,
Oh, when you ride the
7
wind.
1,000,
It's
8
working.
1,000,
Working really
flies.
9
Like a
1,000,
dream.
10
Thank you, Mother.
1,000, 11
Bellator.
Coming down. Hang
12
on.
1,000.
We did it!
Only 12 seconds indeed. Wilbur, did you go up next?
I did. It was almost exactly like the first one. Another 12 seconds in the air, but I went a little farther, 175 feet this time.
I made the third flight around 11:40. I was in the air for 15 seconds and I went 200 feet. But Will's fourth and final flight was the real grand finale.
I tried again at noon, and this time I had much better control of the machine. I flew 852 feet in 59 seconds. It was incredible.
I humbly admit it was quite
Oh,
impressive.
why, thank you kindly, brother.
I am thrilled about your accomplishments. And I'm thrilled to have you home again. Welcome home, brothers.